G'day viewers, the end of another week means it's time for Totally Fucked Up Friday. Even if this happens to be Saturday. Friday night, I mean, if you follow me on Twitter and such like, you would have seen me, among other things, drunkenly tweeting, why don't I make all of TFU about Tony Abbott? Why don't I just make every angry video about Tony Abbott? Because the fucking moron has been saying and doing enough stupid, fucked up shit to keep me fueled forever. But on the plus side, he's going to keep doing it, I'm sure. So I won't make everything about him, but I can actually work him into everything I'm going to talk about tonight. Oh, and incidentally, my last thing talking about him and saying the ABC's unpatriotic and how he's probably going to get shafted by Malcolm Turnbull. Day after I posted that, his main competitor within his own party, Malcolm Turnbull, came out and defended the ABC. It's on, bitches. We're this close to having a really funny shit fight between the Liberal Party, same as we had in the Labour Party when they were in power. And I'm going to enjoy every goddamn minute of it. But that's the future. Stuff that's happened in the past week. A big story, a decision of the Abbott government that's been reported around the world is authorising dredging on the Great Barrier Reef, in the Great Barrier Reef Marine Park, basically to allow for more coal mining. So what this involves is digging out a bay to make it deep enough for the container ships to come in, and then just dumping the mud and silt and whatnot that's being dredged. That will have, well, I would say who knows what effect, because I'm not an expert, but a lot of scientists who do know, or it's their business to know, are extremely concerned. Basically, the environmentalists, unsurprisingly, scientists, and pretty much everyone except the mining company owned by Australia, or has the involvement of Australia's richest person, Gina Rinehart, and all the political parties that she's bought and paid for. Everyone but them thinks it's a bad idea. The people who are going to make money, easy money, that they never fucking earned by ripping dirty coal out of the ground and blah, they think it's great. Okay, and although the dredging has been getting the attention because it sounds bad, and yes, the volumes we're talking about, if you heaped it up on land, apparently it would be bigger than the Great Pyramid of Giza. So it's a lot, but probably the biggest long-term danger to the reef is a massive increase in shipping, because way too much shipping goes through it already, and it's basically one shipping disaster away. It doesn't even have to be Exxon Valdez level, but one shipping disaster away from absolutely destroying the Great Barrier Reef. This is not hyperbole. This is an actual, real, extremely serious risk, and various governments and industry groups are totally cavalier. That won't happen, and it's basically Russian roulette. I look at it and I find myself stunned thinking, is that what you want? You want your political epitaph to be, I destroyed the Great Barrier Reef? Because they've ratcheted up the risk factor absolutely ridiculously. And what weirds me out a bit is this dredging is going to happen at a place called Abbott Point. If that's not important, I don't know what is. But, stay tuned for what could be the most fucked up environmental story of the century. This shit blows my mind. But let's move to other parts of the world. And this is also a callback to Abbott, but more stories I'm seeing this week are, because Edward Snowden and his revelations about the NSA is so far-reaching, and only a small amount of his material's been released so far, and so there's more revelations. Among the people acting like a scary freak is British Prime Minister David Cameron, and he's been expressing his disappointment. Oh, you're still printing this stuff that proves we're doing stuff that's illegal, this stuff that proves we're doing stuff we said we weren't doing. Oh, that's bad. That's against our national security for people to know the truth. You can't handle the truth. This is the government. They sent the coppers around to Monster, the Guardian newspaper, who was the most famous publisher of the Snowden material, at one point forcing them to smash hard drives. It was like, A, that's creepy Big Brother shit. Destroy those computers that you had the Snowden thing. B, it's dumb as shit. This action was apparently ordered by people who don't know how the internet works. Like, oh yeah, we put it on that computer there. Destroy the computer, it's gone! Unless you uploaded it somewhere. Yeah, they don't know how the internet works. They don't know how remote data storage works. God, they don't even know how local data storage works. You know, the guy's could have had a bloody $100 hard drive sitting on the desk that they copied it to, and the cops go, what's that black box? Nothing, it's all on the computer, officer. Honest. And it just freaks me out that these people keep doing it. It's like, I don't know if they've noticed, the public overwhelmingly around the world has gone, we kind of should be told these things. And they're gone, oh, traitors. What? And of course, yeah, this week, the Australian Prime Minister just gloriously called Edward Snowden a traitor. Just look at it, he's a traitor. It's like saying, oh, asylum seekers, illegal. Not, by the way, illegal to seek asylum. He just uses words that aren't true. He uses words that have a specific meaning, and if someone points out that's not true, that's a lie. It's like, oh, well, you would say that, wouldn't you? Moving on. It's just, oh my God. But another fun bit, I did read a guy by the name of Russell Tice, who actually predates Edward Snowden. He gave some material to some articles that were written around about 2005 about warrantless that's when the warrantless wiretapping was first revealed. And he said, like, he's seen the paperwork that shows that the NSA, to protect themselves, was spying on top military officers, top government officials, just so they could blackmail them. Said, like, don't fucking question us, man. We know what websites you go to. Oh, yes, we know what escort services you use. And while there's no objective evidence to prove this is true, anyone who's ever dealt with law enforcement will tell you right back, J. Edgar Hoover in the FBI was notorious for spying on those in power, US presidents, and finding out who they were sleeping with on the side to protect himself. Which actually, but then the fact that he never really pursued the mafia and said they didn't exist led to some very strong rumours that the mafia had incriminating photos of him with his male assistant, and that's why he protected him. See, that's one of the many reasons this spying is bad. Not like, oh, my privacy's one. No, it's always abused. It's the old absolute power corrupts absolutely. When someone has power, when they have this stuff they're doing in secret, they tend to do really dodgy shit just to keep doing what they're doing. And that is why I don't regard Edward Snowden as a traitor, despite the fact by the dictionary definition he's not a traitor unless he's put on trial and convicted. That's a quibble. Personally, I think, and I think the majority of the general public thinks, this information is in the public interest. But you know, that's just us. What do we know? The governments, apparently all of them, think we are wrong. And I want to close off with one that I think is more funny fucked up than anything else. Happened in New York after President Obama's State of the Union address. Republican rep by the name of Michael Grimm gets interviewed by a TV guy called Michael Scotto, but this Republican, Representative Grimm, is actually under investigation, some possible dodginess in campaign donations. And the interviewer says, I want to ask you, about the investigation you're under. And the Republican says, I'm not answering that, I'm only here to talk about President Obama. And the reporter's going, well, I kind of do news, and you being investigated is news. How about that? And the guy storms off. Okay, that's not that unheard of, okay? Storm off, I'm not talking to you. Oh, you wouldn't do my talking point. You dared to ask the question you wanted to. He's gone. But then, the guy walks off camera, and so the reporter goes back, like he's doing a live feed, and goes, well, there you go, he wouldn't talk to me, back to you in the studio. And then puts the mic down and says, wait. And then the Republican guy comes back in and just grabs the guy and mutters at him, and what he's saying to him, because the camera's still rolling, it's not going live to air, but this again is a guy who apparently does not know how recording devices work. The camera is still rolling, the microphone is still live, and he's saying, I'll throw you off the fucking balcony. And he goes, I'll break you, you're just a little boy, I'll break you. And it's just like, who does that? Who? And then, yeah, the politician, he is physically bigger than the reporter, so he's obviously got this big machismo thing of, don't you tell me what to do, boy, I'll push you about. And for me, the real kicker is not that this moron got caught on camera making what could easily be criminal threats of violence against the reporter, and the fact that now, although it was probably very marginal news that he's under investigation, now a whole bunch of people know he's under investigation, but the guy he's threatening is actually related to the Gambino crime family. I'm not saying, right, that he's the type who would exact retribution. I'm not saying he knows people who would do something way worse than throw you off a balcony. Really, I'm really not saying that, okay? Scotto family, I am not implying any wrongdoing or any bad thoughts at all. But still, I've seen things where people on the streets of New Jersey are asked, hey, what did you think of that Michael Grimm threatening a guy who's related to the Gambino crime family? And it's like, is he an idiot? Who does that? Who does that? So yeah, in one foul swoop, this guy's done this. Oh, and I said I'd tie these all to Tony Abbott. Tony Abbott, one of my favourite moments about 3 years ago, he got put on the spot by a reporter who wouldn't stop asking a question when Abbott said, I've answered as much as I'm going to, move on. And the guy said, no, I actually want an answer to this. Abbott's brain appeared to shut down. For almost 30 seconds, he couldn't speak. And his head did this weird bobblehead thing. It was weird. I honestly think what was going on in his head was wanting to say to this guy, I will fucking kill you. Or he's kind of had this look that he's like, he's from Slytherin or something. He's going to unhinge his jaw and just swallow the guy whole. But it's this weird-ass creepy thing where it's like 28 seconds, he doesn't say anything and just stands there with his head wobbling. One point the reporter gets so uncomfortable, he actually says, Tony, you're not saying anything. It's like he thinks, oh my God, I've broken him. He thinks he's talking to me, but he's not. I better tell him he's not talking to me. That was funny. Abbott got away with it because he was actually disciplined to not disciplined enough to not threaten the guy. But this Grimm guy, in one foul swoop, he's made himself look like a dick with these threats. He's made it much broader knowledge that he's under investigation. And he possibly got himself on the radar of the Gambino crime family.